if you're not hopping on and leveraging this technology, there are ways like this that are going to set you apart.
Hey, welcome back to the show. I have another very special guest with me today, April Edwards with Deck Builders Marketers. April, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we're going to talk about some different things around marketing, AI, and all that. But before we get into that, give us just a quick, brief background about you and what you guys do.
Yeah, sure. So I have a kind of an interesting story. We specifically cater to deck builders, and everybody's always super curious about that. We're a full service digital marketing agency, but what I really like to call a growth partner for this industry. I'm really embedded into the industry to help move it forward. So I have my own podcast, We Love Deck Builders. And then I wrote the book on it, Deck Builder Marketing Playbook. Nice. We have a Facebook group that anybody can join, and I speak regularly at different events. I also have a regular column in the Deck Specialist magazine called Market Yourself. So check that out. But yeah, so the background is very similar to a lot of contractors where maybe you start in general construction and you're kind of doing everything, interior remodels, roofing, like whatever, and I had a marketing agency that was just that, a very generalist agency. We did everything for everyone. And after a while, I was like, I'm not even practicing what I preach. This isn't scalable. I can't get, like, my message is diluted because we're trying to reach too many people. And I kind of said, hey, April, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, somehow I had this business that I mean, it was very organic how it happened. But I mean, I went to art school. I wanted to be a starving artist, Anyway, long story short, I ended up realizing that I had something really valuable that God blessed me with. And I had the ability to really help a lot of people. And so in terms of figuring out the people that I wanted to help the most, I looked at the clients that we enjoyed working with the most and the ones that we had the most success with. And I realized I ended up building a system that I could repeat for other deck builders. And so that's kind of where it came. Fast forward 4 years, and I absolutely love my guys. I think that I serve a really good industry.
How did you land on Decks? Because I know you said you were working for a lot of different, how did you come to Decks?
A deck builder in Ohio, just a connection that I had, and ended up, helping their business scale through our digital marketing.
Awesome. Okay.
So they were kind of the inspiration.
So how long have you had your marketing company?
We officially incorporated what I call the legacy agency. It used to be called 𝐴 We just rebranded it to Audition. That was in 2012. And then I started Deck Builder Marketers towards the end of 2021.
Okay. So, but you've been since 2012, you've been working, doing marketing, all that stuff behind the scenes. Gotcha.
Oh yeah. I started in 2004.
Okay.
And I have done everything, like every position you could do. Like if you were to compare it to a restaurant, I've done all of the front of the house jobs and the back of the house jobs.
Gotcha. Okay. Got your feet wet and a little bit of everything. Kind of figured out where your niche is, what you enjoy doing, and then perfected that over the last few years. And now we're just focusing on deck builders and helping them with marketing. But today we really want to kind of dive into AI and how that's changing, right? Like it's an interesting dynamic. I mean, I was just having a conversation this morning with someone who's starting an IT business. Actually, he's a former employee of mine, but he was into IT and he wants to start an IT business. And I was like, man, the opportunity right now is in AI. Like if you can figure out how to bring AI into businesses and integrate it with their IT and all that, like that's a blue ocean opportunity. So that's why I wanted you to come on and talk a little bit about that. There's a lot of buzz around AI, but there's not a whole lot of clarity around it, if that makes sense. And so I just want to dive into that. Like where do you see the shift in marketing and how that, how AI, Google, the different platforms are implementing this in terms of marketing in general? Where do you see the shift?
Yeah. Well, first, I want to just address that I think there's too many people that are still stuck in the idea that AI is just ChatGPT that will write content for you. Right. I think that when it comes to tools like ChatGPT, you really need to be looking at it as an assistant for your life, for your business. If you can be strategic in how you use these tools, it is going to make your life so much more efficient. So it's a lot more than just content. When it comes to marketing, there's a big shift in the way that people purchase and the expectations that they have. We call it it's like a zero click world. Yeah. Tools like ChatGPT and Google's generative search. If you search for who's the best deck builder in Cincinnati, Ohio, it's going to come up with a list of, top deck builders. And even if you're using ChatGPT, like sometimes you're not even clicking through to go to their website. Like you're just kind of getting an idea and learning some things, maybe prompting some more and being like, okay, great. Well, I see that, so-and-so is good. Like what's their specialty? Like people are lazy, right? Mm-hmm. They're leveraging these tools to get answers a lot quicker. So that's one way. But what I really want to focus on is just the shift in the way people purchase. Yeah. So the beginning of this year, I would say the end of last year and the beginning of this year, we felt a shift. I mean, we were feeling it. Like people were slower to buy, not getting as much traffic to websites as we used to. And then, and we had a lot going against us too, right? We had the election, we had tariffs and, taxes and interest rates increasing and stuff like that. But at the same time, we have this AI situation happening where people are using that. I think if we just stop talking about AI and we just talk about the world in 2025 and what homeowners are expecting, they want fast, they want all the things that are fundamental that some people just don't get right, like get back to them right away. Very simple. Yeah. The world isn't the way it used to be. It's more competitive and people are using automation tools to automatically reply to people, even like voice chat. Yeah. And people like that. They just don't. They don't have time, they're very selective with how they use their time. And so, for instance, we have a platform that we give our clients called Sales Jumpstart. If somebody calls you and you're not able to answer, totally fine. They could leave a voicemail, but it'll also shoot them a text message to say, hey, this is so-and-so. I'll get back to you right away. But in order to speed up getting a consultation, bam, link to your form. And that's nice. Because now it's not like, okay, I'm the homeowner and I took a bunch of, I finally decided that I was going to call this company. And now I have the peace of mind knowing that things are going to move forward. So I would just challenge folks to understand that you have to be leveraging technology to make your business more efficient and to create a better experience for your prospects and your clients too. I saw that JobTread, or they sponsored one of your episodes. Mm-hmm. Love JobTread. Eric is amazing. Yeah, he is. And it's a really good example of like, if you're still using spreadsheets, you're missing out on the opportunity to make things more efficient for you and to create a better experience for your client. So those estimates, like you could upload a whole catalog of material pricing and it'll automatically spit that estimate out. You can keep your client up to date on the project. Things like that are what really separate you from other builders. And that is what is really important. It's going deeper into what sets you apart. And in my opinion, it's almost like if you think about how things used to be, that was it, but don't sit there and just say quality craftsmanship, like explain how you're different, and layer it with storytelling too. So I'll stop there. There's a lot I could say, but we're just in a paradigm shift right now, for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. It just dawned on me when you were talking about this, about the shift. On my phone, I have an Android device, so I could hold the power button and it would pull up Google. And I could say, hey, find this restaurant or whatever, or, ask it a question and it would show me results, right? Which is good. But recently there's an update where you can attach AI to that. So now when I hit the power button, it's actually AI. And I can just say I can ask it a question and now it's telling me the answer without actually showing me results that I have to go in and click into and then read. It's just telling me what I want to hear. And it just dawned on me, like, that's so much better than just Google search. And it's not always accurate. It's not always, perfect and all that, but it's still, 80+% of the time, it still gives me the answer that I want. And so that was a natural transition for me that I didn't even realize until you were talking just now, that like, it just made my life much easier, much simpler. And so now I don't even use the Google search anymore. And Google is like king, right? Like Google is the king of everything search, but now AI is going to kind of shoot that right in the, shoot holes in that whole platform.
Yeah, I would say just to kind of piggyback off of that, it's really the idea that homeowners are in control, consumers in general, and they want to establish trust with you as a business before they even decide to pick up the phone. Yep. And so you have to do a much better job of getting out there, being visible, and then making sure that you are explaining how you're different. But it's so much more than that. What we do as marketers is we're kind of the matchmaker between these tools and your business to try and feed them signals and get them to know, like, and trust you before they actually show you to their searchers, right? So I would say, like, we're definitely challenging our clients to level up as well. It takes two, and we can't just like have the same old projects on your website for a year. Like, we need to be updating it regularly and providing more detailed information, taking some time to have some videos of you explaining your business and, your passion and things like that are going to separate you a lot, because they go through a really long process before they even get to your website.
Yeah.
And so you better make sure you're converting them once they do get there.
Well, I've talked about this a lot, but like, even, people will social proof you, right? If they can find your Facebook page, they will go and click on it to see if you're a good person, if you're a scam artist. And, if you got some controversial, polarizing content on there, they can eliminate you as an option just from that. And you would never know it, because they're not telling you. They're not saying, hey, calling you, hey, we didn't hire you because your Facebook profile, is terrible. You just lost an opportunity that you never even got in front of. And so, back to what you're saying, like your website, your social platforms, anything that's out there on the internet, if it's not an opportunity to lead someone, in the buying decision, then it's just a missed opportunity for sure.
Yeah. And those reviews are so important. And I can give a really good tip for your audience too, that I think what's really important, I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say the hard things. Like, if you haven't been working on your online presence, you are so far behind. And we saw it in COVID when there became a lot more competition. People were, switching from general construction and niching down to, deck building and leveraging, understanding the value of having an online presence, and there were people that were relying on referrals and didn't have even a good website, and they were getting outshined by newbies, because they were stepping up. And I mean, if you haven't started now, unfortunately, it's going to take a lot more to get you going, And so, I just want to leave everybody with, you have got to invest in your business, and you have to know that it's going to be an investment, and your results will compound as you keep doing it. Like, you're building a marketing machine, a lead generation machine, a brand building machine, all of these things that are going to even help you get the right team, the right crews and the right team members, and set your business up for success well beyond you. I think a lot of people don't really think about their retirement plans and things like that, and so your results will compound, meaning that you'll pay more to kind of get the ball created and rolling, and then afterward you'll have a much higher return on investment as those results compound.
Yeah, I mean, you got to hit every angle of that. And what's interesting specifically about AI is that, like, whenever Google Business Profile, or, used to be Google My Business, when it first came out and you had the opportunity to leave reviews, like, if you didn't jump on that right away, it wasn't the end of the world. It was like several years before it kind of became the standard of collecting reviews and getting on the map pack and all that stuff. But with AI, because of the rate of how fast it's changing and how fast it's changing businesses, if you don't jump onto that trend much, much sooner, you will be left behind. Like, I don't mean like just a little bit. I mean, you will be like years behind the power curve, and people that are using that and leveraging it on a daily basis are just going to blow away everyone else.
Yeah,
so it's like even more critical with AI that, you jump on that trend sooner than later.
Exactly. Yeah. I just spoke with a deck builder only making $250,000, was still kind of subcontracting and really wanted to go all in, on his business. And I'm like, normally, like do some Angie leads, like kind of get a good infrastructure and then start investing in, SEO and advertising and things like that. But at the same time, I'm like, well, you could go slow and hope that works out, or we could just do this and start from, start right. And so you have to have a budget, and you have to make sure that you're getting on the bandwagon and you are being consistent. I want to also say, when it comes to reviews, it's so important because these generative AI and search tools are looking at those reviews to validate your credibility. And it's part of their formula to get you to show you as well. You also need to be in multiple places because, different tools will use different sources. Some will use Google, some will use Bing. So it's really important to be everywhere. And those reviews are so important, more than ever right now.
Absolutely. At least 7 years, reviews have been critical in terms of using them. One of my benefits when I started in construction was just being kind of a first adopter. And so like anytime something new came out, I jumped on it, right? As soon as Google Business, I learned about it and it was like a brand new thing, went up and set up a profile. I wasn't hardcore about collecting reviews, but I was still collecting reviews. And then after a few years, I even bought a software, Nice Job, to help automate some of those reviews. And within 1 year, I added like over 80 reviews. And so, I had in my business, I had like 120, 130 reviews, like a 4.9 star rating. And my closest competitor had like 17. When someone's looking for that 130, 17, which one are they going to click on first?
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't mean you're going to get the job, but they're going to click on your stuff first.
For sure. And what I wanted to just point out with what you said was you have a system. You have a system for collecting those reviews. And that's why I'm saying, like, if you're not hopping on and leveraging this technology, there are ways like this that are going to set you apart, with the ability to, the inability to get good reviews because you're too busy and you're manually following up and stuff.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of conversations lately about AI and ChatGPT and all the others. I mean, ChatGPT is kind of the first one. Everyone just kind of labels it that, right? Obviously, there's other ones out there. But I hope he doesn't get mad for sharing this secret. But one of my clients is a post frame builder, builds pole barns and post frame garages and stuff. And he started using ChatGPT to figure out like sizes of items. How big is a truck? How big is a tractor? Because a lot of times one of the problems that he runs into is that people don't know how big of a garage they need to put the stuff that they want to put in there. They got four-wheelers, motorcycles, tractors, trucks, all that. And so we were talking this week, actually it was yesterday, and I said, what you should do is, because he had actually created some flyers with garages and stuff with specifications as like as a portfolio. I said, you ought to make a few, use AI, get some graphics and put like, if someone has a boat and they have a truck, like put those graphics in a garage so they can see visually what it looks like to have a boat in a garage in there. Right. And you can do that with AI pretty easily without a ton of hours and hours and hours of, graphic design and all that stuff. And you could just have all these different versions. And so now when someone's seeing a picture, if I have a boat and I'm looking to build a garage and I see a visual representation of what it looks like to have a 2-car garage with a boat and a truck in there. And now I'm like, man, this is really helpful. Now I can see visually, I need to get a bigger garage or this is going to be enough. And now I'm hooked on you as the builder because you provided me with the information I was looking for. And so like using AI in an advanced way like that is just going to change the game, across the playing field.
Mm-hmm. And so he leveraged AI to figure out a way to make the purchasing decision easier for his prospect.
Yes. That's something we've been working on a lot. He even, like, one of his latest reviews was the process was like super easy or maybe I think it was stress-free. Working with him was great, blah, blah, blah. And he made it really stress-free, or he made the process easy, something along those lines. And I'm like, there you go. That's your value proposition. Like people that can afford nice things to put into a garage, that can afford an expensive garage, want a stress-free experience.
Yeah. And people don't know what they don't know either. So if you've never been involved in a construction project, you might not know that it could be a nightmare and how it's going to intrude in your life. So making sure that you're the one speaking up about that stuff is what is going to differentiate you as well and help to get you shown in different things. There's a book called They Ask You Answer. Do you know of this book?
Oh, yeah. Marcus Sheridan is great.
Yeah, by the way, I saw him speak last week in my coaching group event. Oh my God. Wow.
He's good. He's good. I've seen him in a private event. He's talked to us, and he's really, really good.
Wow. 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 So I'm telling you, like, all of us agency owners that were at this event, we're going to be, things are changing because of those two talks that we had with him. And I felt so bad for one of my colleagues that had to go after him because he was such a good speaker. I would recommend anybody read that book. And it's really just kind of getting to the fundamentals. And that's what I think is interesting about this shift is like a lot of things with the way Google has changed their algorithm over the years are really just to make sure that you're being authentic and helpful. That's like, it's really simple. And so They Ask You Answer is all about like, what are the most common questions that people ask you? People want to know pricing. So we've been able to get our clients to agree to have project pages where we at least have a price range. Yep. So it gives the homeowner an idea of, what they could get.
Hey, just a quick time out from the show. If you're a frustrated contractor who's dealing with low profit margins, stuck working on the tools every day, or doing free estimates for people who are never going to hire you in the first place, I invite you to my private contractor community, the Profit Club, where contractors just like you are adding 2 to 3 times more profit each year without producing any more jobs and finally getting completely off the tools to never do another free estimate again. So if you're ready to increase your profits, stop doing free estimates, and get off the tools, then all you have to do is click the link in the show notes to learn more about the Profit Club and see how it can easily 2 to 3 times the cash in your pocket, give you a proven sales process that will convert more jobs with ease and get you off the tools once and for all. And the best part is you can do all of this without having to produce more jobs than you currently are. Click the link to learn more. Now let's get back to the show.
Because again, they don't know what they don't know. They might think that they could get a luxury outdoor living space for, $30,000, and here it's, 250. So when they could see that, they're educating themselves. And what I like to say, you're helping to prime them for sales, but pushing that further and, talking about like, how much does a deck cost in your particular area and having content on your website that speaks to that. Trust me, if you don't have something like that, people are asking that information. And if you're not showing up when they're asking that, you are missing out on a lot of opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Doing comparisons. And I think he's got 5 principles in there, but I would recommend read the book and make sure that you're not making decisions out of fear. Like a lot of people are scared to talk about pricing, and it's like, you got to give the people what they want, and there are different ways you could go about it. But if you're not doing these things, your competition is.
Yeah, he had, when I heard him, and this was many, many years ago, I think I first saw him in his book was like 2018. So it's probably been 6-7 years ago. And he talked about, they use HubSpot back then, and they tracked every detail. And he knew that, if someone were to go and look and they researched or read 40 blog posts that they had written, if it was over 40 blog posts written, they had like an 85% chance of closing them. And like, so they had it figured out to where they would, they would give homework to their clients or a lead. Someone's like, hey, I want a new pool, because he was in the pool industry. I want a new pool. And they would say, great, read these 3 articles that we wrote that talks about all of the main questions. That way, when we come out there, we don't have to spend 45 minutes answering all of these questions that's already answered in these articles that we wrote. And they streamlined that process, and they had it down, figured out. They knew that if, depending on how much engagement, whether or not they were going to sell that person or not. And so I mean, that was great information. I started writing blog posts like the next week.
Yeah, I mean, I've written a bunch of content to address sales objections. And so it's easy for me just to send that stuff to a prospect, and educate them about what they don't know. Our system, Sales Jumpstart, it's got the lead scoring. So it's the same thing where people get more points for, more website pages that they view or content that they download and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that having automated follow-ups, is really important too. And so I kind of touched on the customer journey a little bit. There's a whole journey, and you have complete control over that whole thing. So, we have content on our site that talks about, it basically gets the prospect ready to work with us. Like, these are people that are not qualified, but we're still trying to educate them so that when they are ready, who are they going to think of? And if you have some sort of content, like, everything you need to know about, investing in an outdoor living space or something like that, you get them on your list, and then you could, make sure that your brand is staying in front of them by sending them emails regularly. We also will do the buyer's funnel in their journey. And then afterward, even once they sign up, once they sign on for the project, like, send them an automated sequence that helps them understand everything that they need to know, introduce your project manager, how to use the software, the project management software, stuff about schedules and delays and enhancements and maintenance and things like this, that's going to make your life really easy, is also going to create a better experience for the homeowner. Because I tell you what, at my age, I don't want to project manage people that I hire. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do that. I want it to be really easy. And that's kind of what you're doing. And even when the project is done, for deck builders, there's not a lot of like repeat business, because people typically invest in their forever outdoor space, but you still have an opportunity to continue that great experience by providing helpful content. And you could leverage text, SMS automation and email automation to send a message out that just looks like it comes from you personally, and just checks in to see how they're enjoying, their project. And then giving them maintenance tips, and even hitting them up a year later, and saying happy deckversary and things like that, are going to naturally get you more referrals and reviews.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the warranty, if you have a warranty, send out an 11-month, warranty check-in message. How's things going? Do we need to fix anything? Just taking care of them from that perspective. You were talking about earlier with the customer journey. And if you ask any contractor, like, what's an ideal lead? It's like somebody who's ready to buy right now, and they have an unlimited checkbook. You're like, okay, now once you wake up from your dream, let's talk about what's realistic, right? And what I've had this conversation with my clients, like, people are calling me, and they're talking about wanting to, get numbers today because they're going to remodel next year. And I'm like, that's a perfect lead. Like, why are you upset with that? Like, now you get to nurture them through the whole course, and they're more than likely going to hire you because you've been setting this up. You've been leading them down that journey. And so, like, being able to recognize that people join your world at different parts of the journey. Maybe they've been HGTV in it for the last year. They've been on Pinterest, and they've been doing all this stuff. And now they've talked to a few other contractors. They weren't super happy. And then now they call you. They're going to be a lot closer to making a decision, right? Versus the person that woke up this morning, like, it'd be nice, let's get a new deck. Like, that's going to be a 2-week, 4-week, 2-month journey before they make that decision. And being able to recognize where they are in that journey is going to allow you to cater your message, your reaction, how you process that lead.
Yeah. You know what I want to say to that is I think it's really important I love being a business owner and like critiquing other businesses now, because I want to know what the experience is like and to learn from it, even if it's like a completely different business. I really like to find those little nuances that separate people and also know like, okay, this was a terrible experience. Like, I don't ever want somebody else to have to go through something like this. How could I apply that to my business? I think that's really important, but also, we got to level up, guys, period. Like I said, we're telling our clients, like, you get a lead for a deck repair. We do everything in the world. We have that as a negative keyword in the ads. And, we say it on the website, but that's your opportunity to show people what they don't know. And I think that if anything, like your approach to sales has to change. It's no longer everybody wants a deck, and they're ready to rock and roll. Like, there's a lot more resistance. And I think that you got to get creative with how you approach your sales. We work with deck builders. They create luxury outdoor living spaces. It's not a necessity. This isn't plumbing or something, right? So you really have to let them know, how this is going to, you need to make it a necessity in the way that you sell. I think a good example is a deck builder I talked to a couple of weeks ago. He shared we do these masterminds in our Facebook group. And we also do coaching masterminds with our clients every 2 weeks. So it's really great because I love to hear what everybody's up to. But he shared a really good story about how, somebody wanted to get a deck for their kid's graduation. And, they just kind of wanted to get something small because it was like that one purpose. But he had to explain to them how they're going to enjoy this space for years to come. And what about when their kid comes back from college with their significant other or something, And I just thought that was such a great story because he's like really showing them the value in that investment, Yeah,
absolutely. One of the main things I do is teach contractors on sales. And so that, painting that picture, explaining to them, the value of not of you, like hiring you, the contractor, although obviously we want to make the sale, but the value long term. Nobody likes to pay for something and then afterwards, like, why did we get this? This was stupid. Why do we pay for this upgrade? We didn't need this, right? And now they got a bad taste in their mouth because the contractor just wanted to make an upsale. So really being more of a consultant with them and painting the picture of have you considered this? Have you considered this? Have you considered that? Like all of that factors in. And then you can also do that with your marketing. You can do that with blog posts. You can do it with your website content. You can do it with, short form video. There's lots of different ways that you can answer those questions and prompt those thoughts through, general marketing. But even if someone if it's a referral, they never looked at any of your stuff. The neighbor said, call this guy. They call you. They haven't even been to your website. They don't know anything about you. That's still an opportunity there to show that value in that process.
Yeah. Yeah. I would challenge, your listeners to just sit down with a piece of paper and pencil and really try and map out what that journey looks like, kind of take yourself out of your shoes and put yourself in your customer's shoes and even research, go online and see who's showing up when you're searching for different things, somebody might look out, pretend that you're somebody looking out and you're, again, deck builders, but you're looking out the window and you're like, man, we don't spend enough time outside. what should we do with this? Should we pay? Should we do hardscaping or should we get a deck? And start from there and start searching for things and see who comes up and what the experience is like from even the snippet in the search engine result page or, generative AI and how are they positioning themselves? And then when you go to their website, what are they saying? What's the experience like? Would you feel compelled to, call? Is there a way to join their email list or download something? And then go to what the experience is like from a sales perspective, you know, and then what does it look like when they sign up? And then go through the project, because you'll find opportunity to create a better experience through communication, content, or I don't know, systems.
Yeah. I mean, the buyer journey is actually, I did a podcast recently on the buyer journey, why that's important. We talk about that a lot in my coaching group too, being able to audit that, like just, understanding the different points, like you said, it's so important. I don't know the answer here. I can't figure it out, but and maybe it's not just contractors. Maybe it's all business owners. I don't know, but we have us as people have buying habits, like the way we buy things, right? So if you or I were going to go buy, let's say, a new car, we would go about it a certain way. We would probably start researching online. We would do some reviews on maybe what's this, if safety is a concern of ours. We would look for safety articles and what's the safest car. And we're doing all this research. And then we may go to the dealership and, start having conversations. So there's like a certain way that we buy things. But for whatever reason, and I can't figure it out, maybe you know this, when it's our business, it's like we flip a switch and none of that stuff matters anymore. And they're just supposed to hire us because we're the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like we completely forget the entire buyer experience or the buyer path that we would use ourselves, but our customers don't use that. That's
like I said, I love to compare how what the experience is like with other businesses, because it puts new perspective into what I do with mine.
Yeah, you were mentioning before that we sent out a little PDF that gives some notes, and you're like, we're going to have to steal that and implement it.
Yeah. See how I nerd out on this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing.
But I just, that's the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. And that's, I'll always compare it to like going to a restaurant, and I love olive oil. Do they have olive oil with the bread, or do they have butter? Do they have those little like square butter things, or individually packaged butter, or do they have like herbed butter? Do they have a pepper mill, or do they have like an old shaker? I mean, it makes such a difference. And, with AI too, it's really about being innovative. And if we go back to that, one thing I wanted to say was we are thinkers. We will always be thinkers. And these tools help speed up that process and help us through that. But it's your canvas. So anything that you're spending a bunch of time on, just think, how can I leverage AI to help me with this? You could create entire workflows, connect software. You could do all kinds of things so one example is we're doing all hands meetings on a weekly basis now, because there's way too many changes going on that we were doing it monthly, and it's like, no, we need to get together more frequently. And we like to share wins. We run our business off of EOS. If nobody's heard of it, just do it. It's amazing. And we love to share wins. So my integrator put together a form where people could go and upload, a win that they want to share in the meeting. And I was like, I'm like, I don't want to fill a form out. Right. I'm like, that takes away the fun. Of like just quickly sharing a shout out to somebody. We use Slack. My team's virtual. And so I was like, well, how can we just post this in Slack and then leverage different tools to automatically put it in a spreadsheet or something like that is going to aggregate it all and make it easy for us to go over all the wins on the weekly meeting. And guess what? There's like 8 ways you can do that. So it's really about being a pilot with these tools, and navigating them and being creative and how you can utilize them to make your life easier.
Yeah. Or hire someone else who is an expert at it and have them do it for you. Like, you don't have to, get a bachelor's degree in how to use AI. Like, get the basics down, download ChatGPT, start playing with it, ask it a few questions, watch a couple YouTube videos, get a little comfortable with it. And then once you realize the power of it, hire an expert to come in and do things in your business. It's just a tool. At the end of the day, it's a tool. It's like, why would you cut a 2x4 with a handsaw when you can go buy a chop saw, a miter saw, and cut it, or a circular saw? Like, why would you do things the old way? right? And so like, why wouldn't you take advantage of the tools that are available to you?
And again, I hate to be like, oh, everyone's doing it, but I mean, it is the direction of the world. We have, self-driving cars. It's like, isn't it crazy? Did you ever watch the Jetsons when you were younger?
I've been waiting for the Jetsons my whole life. The idea of a self-driving car is like, I want the day where I can just get in my car and say, go to Florida or go on vacation, and I can just take a nap or, read a book or whatever and not have to drive for 7 hours. Like go to sleep, wake up 7 hours later, and I'm at my destination. I welcome that experience.
Well, I think we're definitely in that shift, and it's like, you're just going to grow farther behind. And it's because people are going to get better at what they do and more efficient, and you won't. I build custom GPTs. You train it, and then you upload documents and you kind of tell it the output that you want. And I created my own virtual board of directors, and each person is based off of a different, famous person for that particular role. And so I'll just go to my virtual board of directors and say, this is the issue. Give me your perspective. Da, 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 da. Everyone's got a different perspective. And then, I'll kind of go back and forth, and it's helpful. It's really helpful.
That's actually a really good idea. Like using it, because then you can even input like different opinions, different people that may disagree with something. And then you're not just having a one-sided view on things. You could have multiple angles. I made a ChatGPT for my group. It's called the Super Duper Role Play Generator. It's got to have a name like that. And you just put in there, and it will like create a scenario to practice role plays with. So like it'll give you an objection. It'll give you a personality type, whether it's a D, I, S, or C, because we use the DISC profiles. And then it will give you I want a bathroom remodel. I'm a C personality. I'm an engineer. I want all the details, and, it better be perfect. And like, so now that's the scenario. Now we got to role play that out. Because we practice with each other, sales role plays, but just playing around with it. Like there's so many options, and there's GPTs that are like already made. Like I was looking at one today on how to organize my Google files. Like, is there a way to automate going in and find all the duplicate files, putting them in folders, organize it? And there's like several GPTs that will actually do that stuff for you. Yeah.
Yep. We don't live in a manual world anymore.
No.
Another thing that I think is really good, and I love that role playing idea. And there's software too that does that. People are creating software that just leverages AI to do things like that. Like we're putting something together that will automatically review our clients' calls, and then it'll leave a summary in their contact record. And then for us, we need to know if the lead was, quality or not. And so it'll also help us understand the lead quality so that we can improve on what we're doing. But I also wanted to give a tip, leverage it to QA things and ask it to rate itself. I swear to God, every time I'm like, okay, well, how would you rate this from 1 to 10? Most of the time it's like a 7 or an 8. And I'm like, okay, well, what's it going to take to get it to a 10,
That's smart.
Yeah, you could leverage it in a lot of things. I have ChatGPT critique website designs.
Oh yeah.
Because it'll end up seeing things that I might not have noticed, and it's just that outside perspective. We do have on our website, we have 99 ChatGPT prompts. If anybody is interested in that, and it really will give you an idea of, the different ways that you could leverage it for your business, even from like an HR perspective and creating contracts and things like that. There's so much you can do.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally millions of things you can do with it. If you're brand new, here's a tip. That's probably the easiest thing you can do. If you're using it for the first time and you're trying to figure something out, just say, here's what I'm trying to do. Like, here's the result I'm trying to get. Ask me questions that you need to know the answers to from me in order to give me the result. And it will say, here's 10 questions. Here's 20 questions that I need you to answer. And if you just answer those questions, then it will spit out the result that you're looking for. So just simply saying, ask me what questions you have.
Yeah, that's good. And I'll take it one level on top of that. So use the formula CRIT,
Yep.
CRIT. Have you heard this?
I think so. If it's the same one I'm thinking of.
So C is for context. So you give ChatGPT or whatever you're using the context. R is the role.
Right.
So I'll be like, you're the best marketing agency in the whole world or something like that, and like give it really specific, something really specific. It could even be someone famous or whatever. And then I is interview. So just like you said, I have it ask one question at a time. I'm like, ask me up to 4 questions, one at a time to give deeper context. And then T is the task at hand. Like, what is it that you actually want it to do? And I think that that's a really good formula to get more out of it and be goal oriented.
Yeah.
Man, some people just miss that in what they do, like it's not about doing something. It's about why you're doing it. And if you can, give these tools a rationale as to, the background and why, and, you're going to get a better output.
Yeah. It's like, you can't just, everybody wants to say, what's the best way to market my business? And that's the question. You're like,
yeah,
okay, I need way more information.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard a different acronym. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's very similar. But one of them that was different was the format. You put in there, how do you want the format of the answer? Do you want it to be in a spreadsheet? Do you want it to be bulleted? Do you want it to be, how do you want the format to spit out the answer? So
what I'm working on right now is, so our house flooded and we've been having to get reimbursed from the insurance company. And I have a bunch of printed receipts. We had to go to a hotel and they'll pay for the food. And so I have all of these receipts. I just took pictures of all of the receipts, uploaded them to ChatGPT. I'm like, give me the totals on all of these. And now I could just zip it all up, send it to the insurance company, and bam, I have my total so I can track the reimbursements.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. It can change your life. Like there's so much benefit to it. And yes, in a couple of years, it's probably going to turn on us and in the world, turn into Terminator. But while we're still here, why not take advantage of it? It's going to find out the information regardless if you give it to it or not. So
right.
You might as well take advantage of it now.
For sure.
Well, Ever, I appreciate you being on here and sharing all kinds of great information, tips. I think you had a worksheet or something you were wanting to give away.
Yeah. If you go to deckbuildermarketers.com/AI, it's a checklist on how to optimize for AI. We call it generative engine optimization. So deckbuildermarketers.com/AI. It's free. Go and get your copy. And I have so many other resources on there too. If you go to the resources section, there's also the 99 ChatGPT prompts and just a bunch of other info. Like I mentioned earlier, I wrote the book, the Deck Builder Marketing Playbook. This book actually, it's not just for deck builders. It's any local based business. The strategies in here will work for anybody. We are giving the book away for free. So awesome. If you go to our website, deckbuildermarketers.com/book, you could get your copy for free. And if you have any issues with that, reach out on social and we'll make sure that we get it to you.
Awesome. We'll put the links in the show notes so you guys don't have to try to remember that. You can just go look for it there and click on it. I always ask everybody this question. Obviously, your book is, we can't use your book, but what is a book that you are reading or one that you would recommend?
Well, I did mention that you should read They Ask You Answer. I'm reading an AI book on leadership. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I will give you the link to it. There's just so many books. So that's what I'm reading right now. I think it's called AI Leadership.
We'll use They Ask You Answer. That's definitely always a go-to. That's a must read for anybody who wants to learn how to actually market their business mainly using blogs and articles and all that. But it's a great book. We'll put that in the links. Not the book, but we'll put your information in the links. Your book and your AI questionnaire. Is it a questionnaire or is it a worksheet?
It's a checklist. Just things to make sure that you do. Mm-hmm.
We'll put the checklist. We'll put the book. We'll put all that in the show notes, and you guys can check that out. Check out their services. Especially if you're a deck builder, definitely want to check them out. But even if you're not, you can still check them out. Lots of gold and information in there. And April, thank you so much for being on the show.
Of course. It was a great time. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, guys, that's the end of the show. You know where to find me on the socials. You can just search for the Hammer and Grind Podcast or go to the show notes. And until next time, remember, profit is not a dirty word.